Chris Newman on Truth and Consequences. We've been studying the fall of mankind and the fallout from the family of Adam and Eve. So our title is More Fruit from the Fall of Mankind. The Cain and Abel issue. And this highlights God's quest with us how to undo the fallen relationship and to reverse the wrong, to bring it back to the original position. You might recall Adam and Eve were born and raised in God's kingdom and in innocence and purity, but through an error and a lack of responsibility, they made a mistake and didn't correct it. Because they didn't correct it and didn't sort out the problem, it continues on in their lives and in their family. Then you might notice that problems in your life, if you don't sort them out, keep on going and can compound problems for other family members, particularly your children or descendants. Which brings us to a fascinating point, and you may not have heard of this word. It says primogeniture. Primogeniture means the first. Primo is the first. Geniture is inheritance. Primogeniture meaning the right of the eldest son to inherit first. This is a spiritual principle, and it is also a heavenly principle, because Adam was meant to inherit God's blessings and pass them on to his family. But something strange happened in the case of Cain and Abel, because Cain is the eldest son. And in the Genesis story it says that God asked the eldest son Cain and his younger brother Abel to make offerings to him, and then God for some reason refused Cain's offering. He didn't accept it, but he accepted the younger brother's one. What's going on here? Primogeniture. Cain is the one who has the right. But we heard earlier how we have to reverse the wrong to the original position. So if something went wrong with the first person, the next first person has the job to sort it out. You see? Right. I'm going to read to you the quote from Genesis 4:5-7, because it's very revealing. Yahweh looked favourably upon Abel and his offering. Abel's the second one born, remember? But on Cain, now Cain has primogeniture, he has the rights, so he should be received. But on Cain and his offering, he did not look favourably. That's capital He should be for Yahweh, all right? I didn't put a capital there. Cain was greatly depressed and crestfallen. He was feeling miserable because his offering wasn't accepted, but he's the first, and he didn't do anything wrong. Yahweh said to Cain, now here it gets very interesting. Why are you depressed and why are you crestfallen? Look, isn't there acceptance if you do well? So if Cain does well, he's going to be accepted. And what does he have to do well? Is to overcome his feelings of depression and crestfallen. Isn't there acceptance if you do well? Now here it goes. Isn't sin a lurker at the door if you don't do well? The lurker's urge is toward you, yet you are the one to master it. Now this lurker is not an abstract thing, an imaginary thing. It's a real thing. It's a real entity. Let's go further into this. Primogeniture, the right of the eldest son to inherit, means that both Cain and Abel, both the sons, were exposed to Eve and Adam's upset and mixed emotions, so they inherited them, and that is the fruit of the fall. Let's go over here and let's examine who is involved in this story, because if we're going to reverse the wrong to the original position, what were the original positions? Now this next part I need your attention because it's quite new for you, I guess. In the beginning there was just God, and then there was God and Lucifer. the angel of light. No humans, no Jesus, nothing, nobody. Just God and angels. The angels are referred to as the sons of God, spiritually. So the angels are his family. And they are spiritual, they don't have physical bodies. You can read the references to them in Genesis and Job and the Psalms and so on. So the angels had primogeniture, right of the eldest son to inherit. Interesting, isn't it? Before Adam and Eve came. However, God had a plan. The plan was moving forward with Adam and Eve are his children in spirit and flesh. Interesting, huh? So the existing Son of God was replaced or displaced by Adam and Eve, the children of God. And we end up with this sad thing of the fallen problem where God and Lucifer and Satan are both competing for Adam and Eve's reality. So what were Lucifer's feelings? Remember primogeniture, the right of the eldest son to inherit. What were his feelings when he encountered this problem of being a son of God? Suddenly there's a son and daughter with a body, spirit and flesh turning up. I'm suggesting that he felt hurt pride, he felt injustice, he felt rejected, he felt lonely, self-righteous, and also resentment. All those feelings got into his heart. Now, this is the situation which God gave Adam and Eve a commandment. And the commandment was telling them not to get involved with the fruit of the tree of the knowledge, good and evil. And they did. So, we have Cain now in a pivotal responsibility as the eldest son. God trusted him, the right of the eldest son, which is why there was acceptance waiting for him if he did well. So, let's look into this. Cain carries the responsibility to overcome his parents' failure and to overcome the lurking Luciferian influence. The lurker, he has to overcome the lurker. So Cain's in a position now of having to make a decision. Now if he does well, it says, why are you depressed? And he says, if you do well, you'll be fine. Isn't there acceptance if you do well? So if he does well, God will accept Cain's offering of himself and his heart and his trust. And he can start the restoration of Adam's family and God's kingdom can begin. That is what this is all about. If Cain does not do well, he falls under Lucifer's lurking influence. Lucifer the lurker. Cain, if you read the story, sadly, Cain did not master the lurker. Cain went out, he invited his brother out, and in an act of treachery he killed Abel. Because he gave in to all these feelings, all the lurker's feelings that he had on board. In killing Abel, he multiplied the satanic fruit of the fall, and we have the first homicide. And the result of that was Lucifer extended his power over humankind. What that means is humans fell deeper into this pit of tragedy and further separation from God, and the right of the eldest son was lost. Cain lost it. So Lucifer kept standing there and saying, well, I'm the son of God, because these other people aren't acting as God's sons or daughters. Who are they? They're my slaves. They do what I want. This is a very deep story because the Cain and Abel issue is God's quest with us, and it needs to be sorted out. And we will explore it in more detail as we go further into studying this course. You'll learn a lot more about how this works. So there we are, there's the quote. There's the situation. The angels were the sons of God, but spiritually. Adam and Eve are the children of God in spirit and flesh. Consequently, Lucifer had hurt feelings. There's a commandment given. Adam and Eve broke their commandment. Okay, so the eldest son has the right to restore that. Cain was in the position. God engineered it by putting Cain in a position of difficulty. And as a consequence, he gave him the opportunity to do well. He warned him about the lurker. That was God's responsibility. Cain did not do well. He went to the lurker. Keep away from the lurker. Find out where he lurks in your life, where he lurks around your family. Get clear with God and start to work through these things. Understand sometimes what seems to be might seem to be an injustice on you could well be an opportunity for you to restore the right of primogeniture, to stand under God and to inherit his blessing. That is the deeper meaning of the Cain and Abel story. Thank you for your attention and for following this through with me. Chris Newman, Truth and Consequences.